Hey everyone, welcome to our mobility number 4 practice. Today I wanted to get into the lateral line of our legs, so our outer hips, our outer glutes, TFL, IT band. For that, we'll start with some pressure work. So if you have a ball, a tennis ball work, any rolling ball that you have at home, grab that. You may want a couple of blocks, which you can have at the top of your mat for some of the standing work we'll do today. We'll also get into our core a little bit today and our spine. So let's begin on our side, and you can cradle your temple with your hand. I'm on my right side. Take your ball, lift up your bottom leg, and place the ball along your IT band, the lateral line of your leg. Now you can have your back foot behind you and sort of rock into this. And work the ball down your leg. You can also stack your legs and rock into that. For some people, that's a little too intense and makes you feel like it's a hot potato and you want to jump right off of it, but do what feels right for you. Some people need more pressure, some people need less. I work to try to melt the tissue over the ball, so just feeling a sense of release, expansion into the lateral line of the leg all the way down to the knee, and you can stay in stillness or rock into it. Let's work it for a couple more breaths. I'm going for that sweet pain, so it feels safe and feels like you can release into it a little bit without clenching your jaw. For the practice today, I also want to invite you to do something non-habitual. So for your nervous system, for your brain, check in with if there's a mentality that you habitually have. Maybe it's being hard on yourself, maybe it's going 110%, maybe it's not putting effort in as much and shying away from effort. Okay, so we'll come on off of that. We'll roll onto our back. So I did my right side there. Whatever side that you did, cross that leg over the bottom leg on your back. You might do a double wrap with your foot or not. And then you can take your hands out to the sides and rock your knees side to side. So you're rolling across that bottom foot to the inner arch and to the outer arch. You might take it a little bit across till you find a bit of a crisscross twist, sliding your pelvis across the mat, and then unhook, and we'll come on to the other side. So I'm just gonna swivel so you can see me. I should mention too, if the ball pressure feels too much, even having your back leg back, you can put a blanket over your ball. So shifting in and out, working your way down that lateral line of your leg. You can outstretch your arm completely and let your head rest on your arm. You might continually be moving the ball or resting in stillness. I'm on my left side here. Maybe a little rocking or staying with the pin of the ball into the tissue and letting the tissue melt all around. One more cycle of up and down. Okay, so whatever side you are on, when you let that go and roll onto your back, cross the affected side over the bottom leg. You can double wrap it if you want, ankle around, and go side to side with your knees. Let it feel good. Okay, you can unhook that. Take your knees and rock and roll up to a seat. And we'll sit. You might want to sit up on something. Let's take our bottom knee in line with our pubic bone and our top leg on top. So it might look a little more like this to start. In that case, you could sit up a little higher. You might try to pile your knees one on top of the other a little more. So you're in this cow face shape, it's yoga Gomukhasana shape. Usually our hips tend to want to scooch towards the bottom leg, so you can press into your ankles or your feet and move your hips a little more to center. Wherever your feet are situated, this is a nice spot to lean in and out and give your feet a massage with your thumb. I know many of you are asking for some love for the feet. And then you can lean in and come back out. Lean in and come back out. And generally the top hip is a little lighter, so if you can think about rooting your top sit bone down into the floor or into the block. Nice, and let's work with a little twist to our upper body. So wherever your top leg is, can you come across with your right hand and twist to the left? Maybe for some of you, you take your elbow to the inner knee and place your hand on top of it and twist, or even your shoulder. And then switching sides, so you can come across. Use your hand if you want to twist to your right, or your elbow, make a fist, hand on top, push into it, or maybe your shoulder. And then coming into the center, if you're not facing the long edge of your mat, you can switch it out. Let's lean back so that our forearms come to the ground, and we've got that right leg on top. Of course, you can always double wrap your Gomukhasana legs, and we'll go side to side. You can squeeze your inner legs together here as you let the outer hips massage open. And then we'll roll all the way down onto our back. And this first one, you might have your knees crossed and your feet active, or double wrap with your feet active, pulling your legs apart a little. And you can interlock behind the back of your head wherever you are, and then curl everything in. And keep your low back close to the floor as you open up. Maybe tap your bottom heel to the floor. Curl everything in and open up. Now you can do this holding your head, and if you have a sensitive neck, you might press your head back into your hands the whole way through, like you're trying to take your head to the floor, and that could perhaps give you a little more of a safe feeling in your neck. Another option, if your neck feels pretty strong, you can take your left arm, opposite arm, over your right. Either give yourself a hug or find your palms, and then curl everything in and open up, keeping your low back close to the floor the whole time. So we might go for 10 more here. Nice slow motion, 10 with your breath. 9, 8, and if there's something non-habitual you can do here for fun, for curiosity, 7, 6, think about your whole abdomen kind of flattening towards the floor all the way through the movement, 6, 5, 4, breathing with it, 3, 2, And 1. Let that go. You can double diamond, hands overhead, feet together, knees wide, elbows wide. Take a breath. Bring dimension into your core. And your knees can come in and you can rock all the way up to your tabletop. Getting your hands ready for movement. Circling around your wrists. One way and then the other. Tuck toes, sink back so that you're in more of a toe squat. Walk your hands in and lift your knees and circle your knees in together and back. Working into your feet again here. Nice, and come up and back to downward facing dog. Take a breath. And coming back onto your seat, we'll do the other side. Right knee in towards your belly button, left knee on top. You could sit up on something, try to get your knees a little closer towards each other. And usually we want to scooch towards the bottom leg, so shift to the other side. Use your thumbs to get into your feet if they're available, and facing up a little bit. Leaning in and out of the shape. Nice. Okay, you can come into a little bit of a twist towards your top left leg. You could hold on and twist to your right. You could take your elbow down, make a fist, press into it. You could take your shoulder down and open up your top arm. And then switching to twist towards your left hand first. Maybe elbow and glove and ball situation, pressing into it, or outer shoulder. And we'll come all the way up, and if you're not, again, facing the long edge of your mat, roll onto your forearms. You can double wrap or not, and let your knees go side to side. You can squeeze in through your inner legs and massage open your hips. Little swivel. Roll on down. First, hold the back of your head. You don't need to double wrap. You can keep your feet active, inner legs pressing together. And come on up and into the center. And then tap down without taking your low back too far away from the floor. And if your neck is sensitive, again, instead of pulling on the back of your neck, push your head into your hands. Now if you like, you can wrap your right arm on top of your left this time, or hold your hands or hold your wrist, and your head can stay on the floor as you tap down. You could go for 10. Slow motion movement. 9. 8. Can you think about flattening your abdomen towards the floor, like a bit more of a pancake of your whole lower torso to the floor, like widening your ribs. 5. 4. 3. And when you come up, you could encourage your tailbone to curl towards the ceiling a little, almost lightening your hips off of the floor. 2. And 1. Open it up, double diamond, feet together, hands together, knees and elbows wide. Bring space into your core. You can take your knees in and rock and roll up. Again, weight bearing on your hands. This time you can take your hands to turn all the way around towards your knees, your fingertips, and you could shift forwards and back. Again, you could tuck your toes. Maybe circle into your wrists one way and then the other. And then bringing your knees a little more in so you're really in your legs, you could take the backs of your hands down. Spin your elbows forwards and do a little circle. Micro circle one way and then the other. And you could pad this way, gentle with this one. It's generally a little more tight for us. Turning your hands around and back towards you. Shaking it out, taking your fingertips to the floor and pressing into your toes and lifting up, lowering down, maybe lightening or lifting. Knuckles to the floor, maybe lightening or lifting up. Just the knuckles, not the heel of the hand, and lowering down. And whole hand, you could lift up a little or lighten and lower down. Hands forwards, back into your downward facing dog. Feel into your outer hips here as you strike back through the outer glutes, your outer hips. Like you're hanging from one of those Iyengar yoga straps from the wall, deepening the crease of your groins. And then come to the top of your mat. Walk forwards, halfway lift, forward fold. This might be where you want your blocks at the top of your mat, so you can grab them there. And come all the way up, reach up, lengthen, and let your arms go. Standing on your right leg, take your left leg over and start to sink into a Gomukhasana. So you could do a single wrap here or a double wrap. Find that. See if you can make your low spine more upright, and it's your right arm over, so opposite arm, to find a hug or a wrap or a holding of the wrist. And let's take 3 breaths wherever you are. Hips back, bottom heel heavy, toes heavy. Center your gaze. Maybe your elbows lift a little. Right, and then you can start to come down and you can unhook that wrap, take your hands to the blocks or to the floor and do a crisscross forward fold. So your left leg is in front. Lengthen out, stick your butt out, bring your belly button forwards, and then fold your belly button towards your knees. 2 more times, lengthen out and fold. Get long there. And forward fold. Stay a little there. Pressing into your big toes, see what that does to your outer hips. And lifting your inner leg line all the way up into your pelvis. Let your head hang. Okay, your hands can be on the blocks for this, or they can be on the floor if they reach. Swivel your left leg behind your right. So you're in that crisscross forward fold and fold. Swivel your right leg behind your left and fold. Keep going. You might kind of shift your hips forwards and back as you work your feet back to a downward facing dog with a crisscross. Eventually your hands might feel like they can go flatter, and you could bend your knees in this as well. So when you come back, you've got a crisscross down dog. Now can you be on your left foot, or your right foot rather, sorry. But your left foot is in front, and circle it into a side plank. Come into the middle, and then turn the other way. Circle it into a side plank. So play with it. You can go both sides with a crisscross. Smudging across on your feet, finding an arm balance. And then into the center, and let's walk our feet all the way. Crisscross, come up onto your fingertips, maybe come up onto your blocks towards the top of the mat. Now when your right leg comes fairly forwards, lift your left leg up like a warrior 3. Your fingertips can be on the floor, on the blocks. Now rotate your left hip on top of your right. so that you can really strongly press into your bottom leg and come into a half moon. Nice. Any half moon variations that you like, go for those. Maybe it's catching your back foot, inner or outer foot. And then let's slow motion kick that left leg forwards. Connect into your bottom right hip. Suck it into the middle. Take a breath. Right, and then slowly lower yourself towards a forward fold. Your breath in. And your breath out. Okay, let's come all the way up to stand and release our arms. Do that sequence on the other side. So our right leg on top of our left, you can single or double wrap it. Sink back, spine more upright, and it's our left arm on top of our right. So opposite crisscross of the upper body. Maybe you hold your wrist or your hands, and your elbows can go up. 3 breaths here. Heavy left heel. Maybe look up, test your balance, center your bottom grounded knee. We'll let that go and slowly start to come forwards, crisscross forward fold. Right foot in front of the left this time. Halfway lift, forward fold. Come up halfway, stick your butt back, your head forwards, forward fold. Again, lift, lengthen, and then stay a little. As you come down, push into your big toes, lift your inner arch right up into the pelvic floor. Maybe tip a bit forwards. Okay, and then we'll do that little walk back. Your hips could shift forwards and back. You could bend your knees. You could take your fingertips to the floor. At some point, you might feel like you can take your hands flat, and that might mean that you're bending your knees a bit more until you're in a crisscross down dog. And you can stay there, or you can, your bottom foot, for me it's my left now, you can swivel on it to find an arm balance with a crisscross and kind of sinking into your hips towards your back foot might help you with that one as you swivel across. Of course, you could do this with a double wrap of your legs. Makes it a bit different. Back into your crisscross down dog, and then that walk all the way back up. Maybe coming on fingertips, on blocks. And then feet parallel, lengthen your spine, forward fold. Take a breath there in your forward fold. And then when your left leg is more forwards, let's take our right leg up towards a warrior 3. And roll the bottom hip on top of the top hip on top of the bottom hip. Keep your bottom knee centered, your half moon. Connect your bottom hip into the midline. You can take any variation that works for you. And then we'll slow motion take that top leg out to the side. Kick into it, long spine, and forward fold. Let your head go. Now here you can start to squat, stick your hips back. You might squat down onto your toes or keep your heels down. Wherever you are, you can take your hands back behind you or slowly lower your hips, feet forwards, and lower yourself all the way back down. Walk your knees in, cross your right leg over your left. And again, you can double wrap and elevate your knees. Put your knees right on top of your hips here and stack your hands on your top right thigh. Then press your hands and thigh in towards each other. Bring your low back a little closer to the floor. Push. Maintain pressure for 5 breaths. 1, 2, curl your tailbone up towards the ceiling like it's getting lighter and you're decompressing your sacrum, back of the pelvis. 2, 1. Okay, keep your legs there. Take your hands behind the back of your head. And we'll keep our head where it is, even pressing back into the hands. And try to lift our pelvis up off the floor. Try not to take your knees too far in towards you. See if you can get them to go straight up with the crisscross. 10, 9, little lifts. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go, double diamond. Next round, see if there's one thing you can do that's curious and non-habitual. Maybe not talking to the habits that really serve you, but the habits that aren't as supportive. All right, so you can come up left leg on top. You can double wrap if you want. Bring it in, stack your hands on left thigh, push hands into thigh, thigh into hands. Keep your low back grounded. 1, 2, 3, curl your tailbone up. 4, 5. Let it go. Hands behind the back of your head. Press your head into your hands like you're taking it down to the floor, knees up. 10, 9, little lifts of the pelvis. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let it all go. Double diamond. We'll stay a little here, or you can outstretch your arms and your legs fully. Okay, draw your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a big hug. Place your feet down on the floor. Lift your hips till you're in a bridge, and you can robot arm, take your outer shoulders underneath you. You can also hold on to your hands, press your arms down in an interlock, or maybe some of you can hold your hips and reach them away. Walk your feet in wherever you are and cross your right leg, maybe just your ankle, right? Or your outer shin or your knee over your left leg. So you're in a one-legged bridge. And explore that. As you scrub, you can kind of scrub your outer left knee forwards, shoot your tailbone towards the back of your left knee, and get long. And then you can switch if you like. Outer ankle, outer shin, or knee, get long. Shoot your tailbone and your right sitting bone towards the back of your right knee. Some of you, if you're feeling like it, you can roll up into a wheel and try this from there. Wherever you are, tippy toes, let your arms go, roll on down. Bring your knees in. You can grab your backs of your knees, your ankles, or your feet. Wobble in this happy baby shape. Maybe opening one leg. We did a lot of inner thigh work today, inner thigh strengthening, which is so good for your intrinsic core, but you might kick out one leg now and then the other or both to stretch out through the inner line of your legs. And then you could sit. There might be a few more asanas or forms that you want to do. You could outstretch your legs. If you have blocks, I just gotta give you this option. You can point them in a downward pointing V on their medium height towards the bottom of your mat and put your knees on that. Let your body be a little bit more fluid here. And as you find some rest, which is personal to you if you have time for it, maybe you contemplate on something that is habitual that doesn't work for you right now. And see if there's any small thing that you can do. Maybe it's making yourself 1% more comfortable. To support your brain, your nervous system, and your heart. So you could count 5 long breaths here in silence, 5 counts in, 5 counts out. Okay, my friends, I'm going to leave you here today. Can't wait for number 5. You might take this moment to acknowledge that you took time for yourself today to make choices that support you. Peace. Shanti.